Alright, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rahawadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and Shalom to you, Arkin, pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth with sincerity. As always, I like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, the real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other 17 nations, because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Jacob, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like, because Numbers 1 and 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. Okay, so I'm going to do a little news article here, which is quite a big story that was broken today. It's on Sky News. It says Arcadia Group collapses, biggest business failure of the pandemic so far. A string of well-known brands at the heart of the high street now face an uncertain future as administrators seek buyers. Now, this was published on today, the 30th of November 2020 at 20:04 and now at 20:08. So this is, breaking news, so to speak. So for those of you who don't know, who may not be from UK or whatever, Topshop is a major high street brand, and it's actually kind of spiritual as well, because one of the main top shops is I believe in Oxford Street, and that's near where one of the main Great Millstone camps was for a number of years, facing that top shop. And now the prophecies are coming to pass, and that shop's looking like it's on its way out. So this is beautiful. Anyway, let's get into this article and I'll bring out some scriptures, Lord willing. It says, Sir Philip Green's Arcadia retail empire has collapsed in the worst single corporate failure of the COVID-19 crisis to date, leaving 13,000 jobs hanging in the balance. Administrators at Deloitte said they would now seek buyers for the business, whose brands ranging from Topshop to Topman and Dorothy Perkins and Burton sit at the heart of the high street. Well, guess what? That heart's been ripped out. It's beautiful news. Arcadia Chief Executive Ian Grabner said it was an incredibly sad day. Not for us, not for us that know this truth. But anyway, it says Arcadia's Chief Ian Grabner said it was an incredibly sad day, and that the company had been unable to ride out the severe impact of the coronavirus pandemic on trading. Now let me play this video and see what it says. I don't know what it's going to play, but let's see.
The figure of £350 million is rolling forward the most recent figures we've got, which are a couple of years out of date, as part and parcel of the deal that was done a year ago to restructure rents. Lady Green agreed to put in £100 million over 2 years. We think £50 million of that has gone in. Once she's paid in the balance of 50 million, and she's on the hook for that, even though the company's in administration, that maybe takes us down to 300 million. Again, as part of the deal, the pension scheme was given security over the large property, the flagship store on Oxford Circus, and a smaller property. That was great, up to a figure of £185 million. Trouble with that is that it was a second mortgage, and my analysis is, you look at the public figures, once you've taken into account the fall in retail property values over the last couple of years, very significant for all the reasons that we know, and then you take off the first mortgage, I doubt very much whether there's anything left for the pension scheme. So then we're left with how much can be raised by selling each of the individual brands. As we've heard already, we're not talking about physical assets, we're talking about brands. Who knows how much those might go for? So we're talking end to end of a deficit to keep the 10,000 pension scheme members whole of, I'm guessing, 200 to 250 million.
And John, for those who aren't as up on pensions as you are, could you just explain briefly, please, where the pension scheme will stand in the list of creditors?
The pension scheme is an unsecured creditor. In the case of Arcadia, and it's a very, very complex group, there are lots of individual subsidiaries and a holding company. They haven't actually gone out and borrowed either from banks or from bondholders in the bond markets. Most of the debt is a sort of tangled web of intercompany loans. So that means that the other unsecured creditors are likely to be suppliers. There's absolutely no question that the pension scheme, and this is often the case in administration, the pension scheme will be the largest single creditor by a country mile. Once the administrator has sold all the underlying businesses, has liquidated the stock, it's then a question of effectively having a pile of money, and that pile of money is spread over the creditors. Depending how much there is, you'll get a proportion of your underlying claim, and that includes the pension. Scheme. Can I just reinforce, incidentally, Ian, and I've been accused of plugging the Pension Protection Fund too much. There are the 10,000 pension scheme members, and there are two schemes. One's an executive scheme, but the 10,000 pension scheme members, once administration happens, will go into the Pension Protection Fund. That's the lifeboat that was set up by the government. The good news for those 10,000 pension scheme members is that they will get the PPF compensation. That isn't the full pension promise that they were expecting, but it's not far off. It's something like 75 or 80% end to end. So they should be worried about their pensions, but they shouldn't be that worried.
All right, John Rolfe, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining me. Well, joining me now is Stephen Timms. He's chair of the Work and Pensions Select.
Okay, so that's the point on that. So it seems like these people are in danger of losing their full pension, which is beautiful news again, because it's going to put even more pressure on, more pressure from above on the people, because they're going to be financially strapped. So let's keep going on this. Sky News has exclusively revealed on Friday that the group was on the brink of going into administration, following the failure of talks over a $30 million loan to help offset the coronavirus cash bleed. Arcadia operates from 444 sites in the UK and 22 overseas, as well as online, and currently has more than 9,000 of its 13,000 staff on furlough. Now, let's do some percentages. Out of curiosity, let me do the percentage on this. Bear with me, Slakia. So if we take... That's over 50%. Just doing it by eye. If you divide 13, yeah, that's about nearly 75%, isn't it? Because 4 threes equals 12, and 9 equals 3 of that. So yeah, that's roughly about, I'm just approximating it by eyeball, I'm not using my calculator, but yeah, that's nearly about 75% of its staff are on furlough. Let's keep going. The workforce now faces an uncertain future through no redundancies being announced immediately, and the business will continue to trade as normal, with stores that have been closed due to the latest lockdown to reopen once restrictions are lifted this week. Administrators said that online orders made over the Black Friday weekend would be honoured. Concerns have been expressed about the company's pension fund following a deal agreed last year to top up the scheme. Arcadia's collapse on Monday evening came after it rejected a $50 million loan offer from Fraser's Group, controlled by Sir Philip's high street rival Mike Ashley. Sir Philip Green was feted as the king of the high street. Yeah, well, not anymore. The Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer tweeted, "This is awful news for thousands of Arcadia employees just before Christmas." Philip Green should do the right thing and fill the Arcadia pension deficit. Mr. Grabner, the Arcadia chief executive, said, "This is an incredibly sad day for all our colleagues as well as our suppliers and many of our stakeholders. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, including the forced closure of our stores for prolonged periods, has severely impacted on trading across all of our brands. Throughout this immensely challenging time, our priority has been to protect jobs and preserve the financial stability of the group in the hope that we could ride out the pandemic and come out fighting on the other side. Ultimately, however, in the face of the most difficult trading conditions we have ever experienced, obstacles we encountered were far too severe. The collapse appears to mark an ignominious end to Sir Philip's glittering retail career. Once feted as the king of the high street, he rubbed shoulders with celebrities and was honoured by prime ministers. But the tycoon attracted criticism after the collapse of BHS, which was British Home Stores, in 2016, a year after he sold it to the serial bankrupt Dominic Chappell for just £1. Last year, Sir Philip celebrated a 95th minute win as Arcadia averted collapse when creditors agreed to accompany voluntary arrangements CVA restructuring that meant the closure of a number of stores as well as rent cuts. Since then, it has faced the added pressure of the pandemic, which has had a devastating impact on thousands of retail jobs from Marks and Spencer's and John Lewis's. Arcadia owns the Topshop and Topman brands. Its most valuable, as well as Dorothy Perkins, Wallace, Miss Selfridge, Evans, Burton and Outfit. Matt Smith, joint administrator at Deloitte, said Arcadia sits at the heart of the high street and has been striving to combat the impact of COVID-19 throughout this year. Now the effect of the lockdowns combined with broader challenges facing bricks and mortar retailers have resulted in critical funding requirement for the group and today's administration. Deloitte said CVAs of companies within the Arcadia group would come to an end as a result of the administration. The collapse has prompted questions about the $385 million package to top up the group's pension fund agreed at the time of last year's restructuring, which includes contributions from Arcadia and Sir Philip's family. Stephen Timms, chair of the Commons Work and Pensions Select Committee, has written to the pensions regulator urging it to fight the corner of members of the retirement scheme. He said there is unquestionably a moral case for the Green family to do the right thing and guarantee Arcadia's hard-working staff what is rightfully theirs whatever happens this Christmas. And that's the end of the article. And this is the beginning of the end of Eastall Society because, this was a big brand, man. It's like one of them shops that you would never expect to go out of business under normal circumstances. Well, these aren't normal circumstances. This is your How Bashim How Shai bringing an end to Esau's wicked society. I want to get a precept quickly. The Most High appointed his bounds so that he cannot pass. Let me get that. Just looking for it here. Yeah. This is Job 14 and 5. Let me get it on the screen. This is the book of Job, chapter 14 and 5. And it says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds, that he cannot pass. And this is speaking of you Edomites. You thought that your houses would continue forever. Let me get that one, Salakia. Yeah, Psalms 49 and 11. So we had Job 14 and 5. Let's jump to Psalms 49 and 11. It says that, let me read up a bit. This is some good stuff. I'm going to start from Psalms 49 and 1. The point is in 11, but I'm going to read into it. This is Psalms 49 and 1. It says, to the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world. Both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ear unto a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heel shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth, and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give the Most High a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. This is speaking of you Edomites here. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honour abideth not, he is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their sayings, Selah. But yeah, that's the point I want to make. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So going back to this, honestly, man, if I wasn't spiritual, and if I didn't know this truth, and I didn't know the scriptures and the prophecies, if someone had said to me, maybe 5 years ago, you know what, in 2020, Topshop's going to be through, I might have had a hard time believing it, because I wouldn't know that that kind of thing is possible. You just wouldn't have thought that, big businesses would be folding the way they are now. But obviously, by the grace of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, I did know these prophecies. Actually, Salakia, maybe I should have said 10 years. But if you had said to someone in the world, basically, in 5 years' time, Topshop's going to be through, most people would look at you like you're crazy. Well, look what's happened in 2020. All of these prophecies are coming to pass. The things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. And what does the other scripture that comes to mind? Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of our times. So the fact that we have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures makes us be, confident in these times, because with each passing day, we see Yahweh's return drawing closer and closer and closer. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And it lifts your spirit when you see articles like this, man. The rest of the world is in mourning. Let me get it. It's Ezra, 2nd Ezra 9. Salakia. Don't want to talk too much. Let me get the scriptures. But these things should lift your spirits, man, if you believe in this in this truth. So 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, and starting from verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. When thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that this is the very same time wherein the Highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the Highest have plain beginnings in wonder, and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And to everyone that shall be saved, and shall be able to escape by his works, and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which have now abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty, and when as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood it not, but despised it, the same must know it now after death by pain. And therefore be not thou curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. So this man, Philip Green, let's go back here. There's the picture. This guy thought he was doing it, This dude thought he was Charles in charge, if that's what they say, There he is surrounded by these models and shit. He thought he was doing it, but guess what? His financial empire is pretty much through. His retail empire, I should say. He's probably going to have money to survive. I guess he's going to come away smelling of roses, but basically all his employees are going to be facing, job seekers allowance, universal credit, unemployment. It's not a good, not a good time for these people which have ignored the words and ignored the prophets of Yahweh Shem Shai. We've been warning people, but the doors of repentance and mercy, the shutters are coming down, man. So people say 2020 was a hellish year, or you wait till 2021. And it's funny because I was thinking a couple years back, was it 2017, when all them celebrities were dropping dead? Like, who was it? Prince died, Carrie Fisher died, George Michaels died. Loads of people died. It was either 2017 or 2018, I can't remember. But I remember people were posting, 2020's been such a horrible year. Can't wait for, 2018 or 2017, whichever it was. It's been such a horrible year. I can't wait for it to end. Well, people are saying the same things about 2020. They can't wait for 2020 to be over, which is folly because, the times are in the power of Yahweh B'Shem Shai. So, you know what I mean? Just because the year ends, according to Esau's calendar, doesn't mean the tribulation's going to end, because the tribulation is only just getting started, man. The Most High's only just begun to turn up the heat on this place, and people are already feeling uncomfortable. But anyway, yeah, this is beautiful news for us, in the truth that can see these prophecies coming to pass. The scriptures say, lift up your head for your redemption draweth nigh. So this is beautiful. So I'm going to end this lesson here, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Shai, B'Hashem Rachwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to you, sincere Arcadia, that be pushing this word around the globe in faith, with truth, and obviously with sincerity, as I just said. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say shalom.